Two things I heard before we go to the next question. Every one of us have a farm background. Do not lose the importance of the farm to South Dakota. Every one of us came from a farm. I can still drive a tractor. I do the snow with the snower and save us money and stuff like that. And every one of us, I know John lived in town, but he went out and he did the manure thing.
That's where the manure was on the farm. So I had to go there.
So I got a poll then. Everybody that's an entrepreneur in this room, raise your hand if you have your own business. And how many of you guys come from farm backgrounds, just out of curiosity?
My mom did.
So about half of them.
It's a very important part. Now, the other thing I heard, and Brad said we have another 125,000 people. We're leaving here and going to that bridge with sledgehammers. We're going to get that bridge done. We got 125 coming. We need to get ready. We're a little proactive on this particular.
Well, you know, you look at the communities that are growing around the outside, T, Harrisburg, Brandon. You know, the communities are underserved, wouldn't you say? I mean, we can all drive to Sioux Falls and we can get what we need, but the communities themselves, there are holes. You know, I'm in contact with the Harrisburg School and the Sioux Falls Lutheran School and the T School District to locate building sites because it's not as easy as you think. And I just brokered the deal for 72 acres for the Harrisburg School on the south side of Sioux Falls, and they told me last Friday that they want to renegotiate a deal for 2 more schools. Well, these areas are underserved. There are opportunities in these small towns.
But you got to identify them. And there's people, the other part I found, Brad, I didn't know he was that dialed in, so I learned something today. But the other thing, when I'm out, like I gave a speech in Armor a week ago out there, and there's a lot of government things, people that can help you. I have a list back at the store, I didn't bring it, of emails and key people that can help you if you need help. And they're getting a safe paycheck every 2 weeks. Let's work the tar out of them. And use these people if you have questions and have them. My job is kind of a catalyst to get people to those people. My job is to kind of start and get people interested in it, and then there's other people that are way more qualified than I am to do that. So there's some really good conclusions to draw. All right, another question. Anybody? Chris, you got to have them. You got a rocking business there.
Money. Been in business for 20 years. Pretty successful. Trying to break that $2 million mark this year too.
It's hard.
Might be a little further away than you are, but daughter's out of college, wants to come back and be part owner of the business. She obviously has no money. I want money to grow the business. I want her knowledge and education to grow the business. How do I present that and say, I want X amount of money? Who would I go to, or she go to buy into my business?
I'll tell you how I did it with these young guys. Kind of maybe use this. Basically, I went to the bank and structured a deal where they had to do. They all bought 10% of this corporation that at that time was Brandon. We had Sioux Falls East 10, which is in the same corporation, was in the plan. We eventually spun County Fair in there, but basically, I came up with a number. I basically said, you want to get a 20% return. You can't get that anywhere else. I said, what you're going to do is you're going to give me $100,000 for 10% of the company. Obviously, they didn't have $100,000, but they had something. They all had $2,000 to $6,000 to put into it, and I knew that they knew what it took to make the business work. So I went to the bank and said, I'll try to get this deal done for you. Well, I had to personally guarantee it. They did not know that. They did not know that I had to personally guarantee the money. So they knew that about 3 years into it. But basically, I brought them on. They were paying it. Everything was working out as is, and I just wasn't ever going to tell them, but there were some circumstances where I just had to tell them that, hey, I had my. So really, not that I was trying to make them feel guilty or anything else, but I said, look, this is what I've done because I knew you would do what you said you were going to do. And so you could structure a deal there. You could make it seem like it's all bank money. She's got to write that note out, she's going to buy some stock and could get you some capital. May or may not work. I don't know banking relationships there as much as mine, but I had a long-term banking relationship.
Just one last thing on that. Just so you know, when Matt graduates from USD, he said he will be your business partner.
Daryl, I have a very interesting question and important. Were you married at the time you guaranteed those loans?
Yes.
All right, did you tell your wife?
No.
I knew that. Because it drives wives crazy. My wife gets so nervous, and I'm telling you about these dynamics. This isn't stuff out of a book. This is happening in our lives and stuff. And I've been much better as I got older of bringing my wife in. And in fact, when we bought our big building out there 11 years ago, and thank God it's just about paid for, that closed. is that I had to give up refereeing. That was all negotiations. She said, I will sign again and take more risk with you, but you will quit traveling and you will do this, this, and this. So it was a give and take. And I think that's why we've been able to stay married. As I've gotten older, I'm way more mellow, and when I come home at night, I just say, yes, dear, and okay, honey, and whatever you want to do, because I wasn't that way early. I was all over the world traveling and doing some things that I did, and now it's her turn. Very important to a marriage, and that's why life got a little easier for me at home and stuff, because I wasn't quite as forceful and driven. When I go home, I'm a puppy dog. And that's a good thing, because I wasn't. I did what I wanted to do before, and I was going to drive this company, and she was along, and she married me, and that was that. Well, that's a doggone good way to probably lose a good woman. So, anyway. Hey, you guys,
You're talking about need, potentially an infusion of cash, or what was your question? Do you think you need cash to grow to be able to accommodate her? What was your cash related? What part of that was it?
To be able to grow, to be able to bring in some new equipment, offer some additional services.
Small business administration has a bad rap, because people that have been around this business long for 30 years like I have, we've gone down that path. The first time I went to do a business, the bank was going to help me get a small business loan. The paperwork was really tall. I went in there on a Saturday morning, and he started working on the paperwork, and about an hour into it, he slid all of it over into the garbage can. He typed out a promissory note that wasn't any bigger than this to lend me money. But Small Business Administration realizes that that doesn't get money in people's hands. We have an outstanding group in Sioux Falls that facilitates small business loans. The programs have changed so much. I don't know whether this will work or not, because I'm taking a broad swipe at it, but never before were you able to refinance existing debt into small business loans. You can now. You can go up to $5 million. The interest rates are lower. The processing is so much quicker. And I'm on the board now, but what I've come to realize is that if a small business loan takes a long time to facilitate, it's because the people that are applying for it aren't holding up their end of the bargain more often than not, because the guys in Sioux Falls just do a terrific job. And they work on loans all over, from Yankton all the way up to North Dakota. So if you haven't talked to them recently, it would be worth it. The programs are amazing. They are not as difficult to get, and they've streamlined the process. So that's someplace you might want to look. And you should all consider looking at your financing and see what happens. I had a mentor in business, and he was just such a terrific guy. And one thing he told me one day, he says, don't be so busy trying to make a living that you don't take time to get ahead. And that's exactly what you do if you take a few hours out of your workday and go talk to the SBA people, because I'm telling you, they are beyond compare. We have that office at your disposal in Sioux Falls, and it's called Dakota Business Finance. And they're dynamic people, and they are very well versed, and they are highly awarded for what they do. So there's something for you right there.
John, you want to take a whack at it?
Oh, I would mimic what he just said. That we used the SBA when we started Sunny. With the Great Spot Company, I didn't have a loan when we started that. We just did it. I didn't even think to get a loan. We just did it. And then with Sunny Radio, I couldn't quite do that. It was more than we had on hand. So I'm not going to say it's the simple process. You walk in and sign something, you walk out. It's, they give you a lot of paperwork. I don't know what it all says. I gave it to Heidi. So, I'm not a detailed guy. So, but they also have a lot of tools available that helped us get started as well. So it's a good resource.
Chris, I'm going to take a whack at it. Mine's different. All right. Your daughter's soon to graduate, or she has graduated?
She has.
All right. My take would be that, is she married? So is there a significant other or anything? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. Okay. I would set them down. Have you valued the stock of your company yet?
Not recently.
Okay, we do it every year because I have those shareholders and we meet and we have a professional person there. Is I would take and I'd set her down and say, we're very interested in this, but the worst thing I can do is give you this. I would structure it to get her to live as lean as she possibly can in her 20s. Lean is just say, listen, don't get credit card debt, don't get a new car, don't buy a house, get very, very conservative. And you give her part salary, just enough to live on, and the rest would come in stock. So she would be earning that stock along the way, say, Mary, whatever her name is this is what we're going to do, and this is a 5-year plan, and my goal is to turn this over to you and work it that way. Now, I have a successor issue because all her kids are going to do something else. They want to stay on the board. The 2 are lawyers, and the 3rd one wants to be a dentist, and he's on his way. and they're not gonna run that company. So I brought in a kid from Milwaukee last summer that I met at a trade show, and him and his wife came and stayed here with us and spent some time and showed him the company. I got an ex-employee that I've looked at, and he's got a really good job, and there's another one I'm talking to. We gotta start working on this succession thing right now, because we're in that age where something could happen statistically and all that. But I would structure something very clear with a lawyer. No family business. Some of you might have seen I wrote a book called Family Business, or had it written. And I am just absolutely fascinated with family dynamics and business dynamics. And when the two meet, it's usually fireworks. We all have the best intentions. It's hard enough being a brother or a sister, let alone a business partner. And that's what Daryl said. Somebody's going to dominate, and somebody's going to like it. And that's just the fact. But I would structure that, and you could do that in a way that really motivates her. Teach her to live. You know, you guys have means. So teach her to live a couple steps below early. Our schools, you know, kids got spoiled. Us baby boomers, a lot of kids got spoiled and had it too easy and got cars and all this stuff. Let's go back to the basics. And that's what we've tried to do. Our kids had way better, easier than we did, but it's still structured, and they do know how to work, and they know budgets. And our daughter's as good as my wife with money. My wife is awesome with money and stuff. And I'm not exactly, but I know how to invest it. She'd be no investor. I'm the investor. She's the one that can save it. And we work together on that. So that's how I'd approach it. That is an awesome question. That is a life-changing question, because that could screw your family up forever, or it could be the best thing that you ever did. Okay? And I'm telling you, that is decisions that are made by people. We had a deal in our family where the kids, it was time to pay part of their school loans back. And there were some very, very sensitive issues in there. There was an agreement all along. And my wife was going to back off of those agreements. And I said, bullshit. We gave those kids one heck of a deal. They're going to help pay some of that back. And we're going to use it to pay down that building. There's no secret to what's going to go on to that. And my wife was, no, the kid will break our family apart. I said, we built this thing strong. And we got through it. It was an awesome experience. And my wife says, well, your daughter-in-law is going to hate you, and you're the biggest, meanest son of a gun that ever walked. I said, honey, business is business. And we've taken care of those kids, and we've been fair to those kids. We've got some things we need to get done. And they got, like, they paid 25 cents on a dollar for their education, but I wanted them to pay something and stuff. And it was a really big deal. And they all got, they all got 7 years, and the one Cummins got 8. It's a lot of education we paid for, and still been able to live a decent life. But we really invested in that education. Boy, that's a good question. All right, next. Yes, sir.
How did you learn to really delegate so you could focus on,
I don't think I've learned yet.
really focus on, what you're best at.
Right.
And delegating costs money, where you find capital.
Okay, so ask that question again.